even including 2 board members who can't carry out their responsibilities because they're banned from the station. So I'd like, before we close this, I'd like to hear your response on that. I think it cries out to be remedied.
Okay, it's now 10 o'clock. We have 6 people on the stack. If we want to extend another 20 minutes or so.
No. Move to extend 10 minutes?
No, everybody will not get a chance then who's on it.
Okay,
whatever you want.
If you limit everyone to 1 minute.
1 minute.
Or have people
that haven't asked.
Right, that's right. Okay, what do I hear? It's your pleasure. How much?
Yeah, how many people are on the staff?
0, 10,
skip me.
1, 2, 3, 4, skipping you.
So move to extend by
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Oh, yes. Okay. Is there any objections to extending for 10 minutes? Seeing none. Yeah. Sorry.
Can Bertold answer my last
Yes.
question?
So, yeah.
Oh, sure. Well, I did address the ban issue with management at Pacifica, and the response is the ban are going to stay banned. If you have an issue with that, I think you have to write a petition, and so we can take it to Pacifica and management. And there were some reasons for the ban. I spoke to LeVon, the previous IGM, and the executive director, and that's where we're at right now. As far as the program council, I wish Kathy would address that, but the meeting was exactly to establish a program. You're leaving, though.
If you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a program council meeting notice sent to the staff and a reminder sent to the staff, and it was fairly broadly circulated. And the intent and the agenda of the meeting was to work on that the criteria for forming the staff representation to the council, as well as bringing back all of the evaluation processes and the grievance processes. So this was something that was very much initiated on behalf of the staff, but perhaps the people have become somewhat jaded and didn't think it was worth their time. But certainly I'm committed to keeping that going and reestablishing the council. And I believe that management has reached the point where they're committed to reestablishing the program council.
Concerning transparency on premium, I'm not sure what you meant about. I mean, if you want, and if it doesn't offend the producers, I can post the result of each producer's productivity on the fundraising to you. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what.
You'll see. There's a list
read
there.
that-
That's
read that
not
list.
one of the items. It's about the breakdown of. Sorry.
Actually, the list is something that you'd normally get anyway in the finance committee. So I don't think there's
Not
been
all.
any problem with.
Some of these
yeah.
points, but not all.
Point
Well-
of order.
Yes.
This memo, though it may be important, was just handed out at the table. It's not coming from the board.
Correct.
Well, Bob just introduced it.
I know, I'm just.
What he said, he didn't say it came
I
from
didn't
the board.
say, yeah. No, it's a request from a group of listeners, and I think it's reasonable.
Okay. The next person is manager.
Okay. Yeah, that
Manager.
I can email that to you. That's easy.
So thank you very much for talking about the location and what you are working and doing. But I hear that you say you don't have, enough resources, time, resources, and energy, and you need support. I have told you a long time ago that I would be willing to work on that, because that has been one of the things that I expressed as my interest for coming to the board to be helpful in that area. And thank you for looking for funding. Maybe for that, $2 million you can. There are people that they have money and they may be willing to put that toward, that serious need for BAI. And also, I have said it all the time that BAI is providing a service to this city, And city hasn't given the WBAI anything, as far as I understand. So we have to be very proactive to get the city to understand the contribution of BAI, and in terms of employment, information, education, training, and everything else that BAI has done. In terms of programming, it's really upsetting to me that, first of all, what Russell said really bothers me incredibly. I don't know all about it, but I think the programs that are coming, or anything that comes, has to be at least a committee that really seriously look into this. We have some programs that I think were anti the mission of the station. If you have any racist, any discriminatory comments, it's about violence. And I don't think we have to allow that. And we cannot be hostage to the money all the time and prostitute ourselves because they gave us money, so we are going to close our eyes and ears. This institution has a mission. And many people who work, almost everybody who works there, they are very committed to that. And they're spending their lifetime working on that. We cannot have this nonchalant attitude that brings money. Money is not everything. If that was the case, many of us wouldn't be here. I wouldn't spend our time here. So it bothers me. And I think I second what Bob said. And I have talked with you about that. The way in which people were treated, no matter who they are, if I like them, if I don't like them, if I haven't heard them. Some of these people I've never heard. But nobody at this place should be treated so violently and so disrespectfully. If they have made commitment, it doesn't matter. You don't come like a bulldozer or a tank and shove people around, throw them around, and not to involve them. BAI is about community. It's about developing peace and justice through community relationships. And we should not, at any point, anyone should think that they can get away with that. The other thing that it bothered me, the commercialization of the station. I know Gary Knoll I have learned a lot, I've said before, from Gary Knoll, but Gary Knoll, a couple of times I have heard, all of them, they have this young woman coming and promoting Gary Knoll. Gary Knoll is a corporation to himself, and I have said it all along. I don't want to see any advertisement of people on BAI. People constantly promoting themselves. So what is that? Why is that? I don't have the time to go and search all of these people to see how credible their work is or not. I don't have the time, and if BAI is not fulfilling that responsibility, that's a big problem. And about banning. Two people cannot make decisions about disenfranchising people. It should be explanation, it should be transparent, it should be on the table. After all of these years, I have been part of this station for over 30 years now. I hear from all sides, and it's very hard for me to make up my mind. It's not easy for me to make up my mind about these things. And it should not be up to two people there to decide. I'm not saying that these people should not be banned. I'm not saying they should be banned. But we need to know, why is it that they cannot do? Why is it that they cannot, for example, sign an affidavit of their behavior that they would not do it and come back? If we are banning, we are acting like the Shah of Iran, the Mubarak, the Khomeini, and everybody else. And like our own government, who's banning people and shoving people around and disappearing people. We can't do that. We are supposed to be the conscience. We are supposed to be standing up to our government, and therefore we have to behave it ourselves. We can't be hypocrites. That we say something and do something else. It can never work. That's why the progressives are so bankrupt in this country.
The people on the list were myself, Ray, Russell, Janet, and Carolyn, and the 10 minutes has passed. Nia? I didn't know you were on there. So unless there's a motion to extend time, we will adjourn here. So is there any motion to extend
Should I
time?
answer?
No.
Adjourn where?
No, there's no time. There's no time.
I thought you were gonna deplete the list.
Well, there's, can we motion to 10 minutes? I suggested 20, but it, John moves 10 more minutes. Is there an objection?
Yes.
Objection.
There's objection, because people have a long way to travel, I guess. All in, I have myself, Ray, Russell, Janet, Carolyn, and Nia.
Can I make a suggestion?
Not right now.
The question is taken and then he answers all the questions.
Not right, no. If there's a motion to extend for 10 more minutes, there were objections, so all in favor of extending for 10, yes, go ahead.
To extend until all those persons have spoken.
Okay, and give each person no more than 2 minutes. Yeah, so all in favor of that, please raise your hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. All opposed. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that passes. Okay, so I am the next person on the list. So we're going for 2 minutes for each person, and then Alberto. It'll be 10 or 12 minutes. Yeah.
How many people are there?
We're wasting the time. Mitchell, Ray, Russell, Janet, Carolyn, and
My
me.
amendment was until the list is depleted.
Right, until the list is completed. That's 6 people. Right, and then his response. Okay, in my, first I want to give kudos to the station, especially for the recent coverage on Egypt and some of the novel programming, finally breaking into some of the programming to put on relevant, immediately relevant programming. I think that was really great, and I appreciate that very much, and from different vantage points. I'd like to second, surprise, surprise, what Russell was saying about zeitgeist, and I'm coming from, as a 9/11 truth person, there's truth and then there's distortions of the truth and manipulation. Webster Tarpley, for instance, he was LaRouche's right-hand man in Egypt, if only, in Germany and in Europe for many years. He led the campaign against Petra Kelly that led to the violence and their deaths, she and her husband. And I don't want to see that type of crap on BAI, at least without a debate. Why is there no debate? Why isn't there at least somebody coming on and saying, wait a minute, even as part of the fundraising, this is wrong, let's debate, here's a different way of looking at it. So that's that. I also don't like to hear Condoleezza Rice and Colin Powell presented as heroes for people in this country that we should be following, which was is being promoted on the morning show, The Wake Up Call, among others. I think that's a real problem as well. And also, the Programming Council, I don't believe should be meeting without having LSB listener representatives to that Programming Council. I don't believe it should only be staff at BAI. Programming Council should have at least some listener input formal into it. So, and finally, I'll just say, since my time, 2 minutes is up, that we need to have negotiations now with the landlord. We should have had it 3 years ago. I don't care if we have an exclusive contract, that was forced on us by Pacifica's attorney. We need to have negotiations now to see what he will offer, going backward to changing the rent that we've paid and see if he's willing to trade. It doesn't mean we have to agree to anything. At least let's see if there's any offer there that we can make. Anyway, thank you. Next person is Ray.
Okay.
There were a lot of good statements made. I thought Manager made it pretty well in terms of the emotion of what's involved here. Clearly, we can make compromise to survive where we lose the essence of what we are about, and I think that's what we're doing. So, and also in terms of the programming change, the process, I think it's extremely important. I heard some vague statements about, well, we survived this, you guys are to the other side. So at what price though? At what point do you really turn into the opposite or something that is not worthwhile fighting for? I'm very concerned with that zeitgeist. I'm concerned enough that I'd like to make a proposal that we take a look at it. What Russell said it really concerns me. Mitchel said I added quite specific information. So I think we should take it seriously. Again, there's a principles, the ban, again, Bob mentioned that. I think we cannot do those things and come across being the same as we were. We cannot make those changes without paying a price as to what defines us. Now, in terms of moving, there's 3 buildings that were available on 47th Street between 8th and 9th Avenue. They used to belong to Tootsie Roll. They were selling for $30 million. I don't know if it's beyond our means. One of them has 2 stories. The other one has 5 stories. And the tallest one has 7 stories. So I know some entity were interested and they got into financial trouble. Part of the reason they were able to afford it is that they were able to rent a substantial amount of that space. So I think it's worth looking into.
Where is this?
47th Street between 8th and 9th. Belong to Tootsie Roll. It's on the south side.
Okay.
Thanks. Russell is next.
I'll pass it.
Janet.
My turn?
Your turn.
Oh, yeah, particularly.
Hold on. Take your mic. Don't ever give it.
It's a producer.
Particularly with our discussion here about sensational premiums, I want to support very much the collaboration with Kaveh Khanum, which is a very distinguished organization of writers of color that has many events and many discussions and presentations that I think are very amenable to us and to our air. In the same vein, I'd like to suggest that we reforge really a strong bond with Pan American Center and their projects, the Penn Prison Writing Committee, which has been a long-standing connection with WBAI, and I think has sneaked off to WNYC in the last year since they got a green room, and the Freedom to Write Committee, which is tremendously important right now. As I mean, if there's anything we can see now in the light of the Egyptian, the plight of the Egyptian journalists or the international community of journalists, is that we need also to support all organizations that are connected with us in any way, that support and maintain and are vigilant about freedom of speech.
Is Carolyn and Nia, and that will be it. And your response.
Thank you. A couple of quick questions. First of all, thank you for being here and answering all these questions so forthrightly. I'm suggesting, after listening to the information about zeitgeist, which I do not know anything of, but which alarms me, and thinking back over the history of the things that have gone out over our air that we wish had not, I'm wondering if you might not consider forming a small committee, 3 or 4 people, to vet premiums before they're on the air. Give people 24 to 48 hours before a premium is approved, and get the committee to look at it and register their objections, if any. Just a thought on how to avoid this sort of thing. It's embarrassing, it's counterproductive, and it does in fact betray our mission, which we don't need to have. I'm concerned about the, as you know, I was interested in the beginning in negotiating with Silverstein for reduced rent right where we are, at least for an extension, until we can get in better financial shape. Is there any move to do that? Does our lease, the exclusive lease that we were forced into, preclude that?
We are doing that, and we know the terms that they want. It's not what I want.
Not enough.
Okay. You know, they're willing to go back a few months and so forth and so on. It's not what I want.
Okay, just asking if you've explored it. I'm not asking for details now, but thank you for that. Now, the question of this constant complaint that we hear about people being disenfranchised without due process. I happen to know the
the complaints that are being made, they are not true. There was due process in these cases, as much as the circumstances demanded, and I wish that we could stop that, and I wish that we're told if in fact people are banned from the station and you have to keep hearing complaints that are not true about things like due process, perhaps a short statement from management, national office perhaps, explaining the circumstances. People who are fired are not habitually allowed back in the station. That's basic practice anywhere. There are other reasons, and people keep glossing over them. Let's not do that, and maybe you could get national to put out a statement
2 minutes,
for us.
Carolyn.
Okay, thank you.
Next is Nia.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Thank you, Berthold, and hello.
How you doing?
I am doing fine, and
I love you, but I'm mad at you. I sent you a text, right?
you will just join the line.
Okay.
I always do.
Is your mic on?
I do what's necessary. I don't do what's popular. I do know that.
All right.
What that doesn't, and also, I do love you back, but you haven't returned my calls, and I sincerely mean that.
He doesn't return anybody's.
Well, that's a problem. Manny actually said what I was going to say. Berthold, I'm not Berthold. Well, I thank Russell for bringing that to our attention. And once again, if Mitch is probably going to drop dead, because I do agree with Mitch. So in terms of, I heard the the member that spoke before me talked about having a group of people to basically screen these premiums. I thought that was the job of the program director. So I I see you're shaking your head, so I guess you do agree. You do agree with that. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have input, because if Russell were allowed to be in the station and gave input, we would not be having this conversation right now. There wouldn't be so many hurt feelings. So in a way, I agree with her on that particular point. But I would appreciate if I have called you. Hello.
Sorry.
I have called you. I have emailed you, and I need you to tell me that when I call your email that you're not going to answer. I certainly won't do either, because if you don't want to communicate with me, then I guess I shouldn't be communicating with you. But if I do call you and write you, I don't do it that often. I don't come down to the station to harass and harangue you, and I would appreciate if you at least write to me or say something.
Thank you. Berthold, you have 2 minutes.
First of all,
Take the last one first.
yeah, I'll hit the Nia question first. Nia, believe it or not, I answer you and call you back more than anybody else. I have 1,900 email unopened, even though I open between 50 and 100 a day, and you cannot just discard them because some of them are important. Phone log.
Excuse me, could you also answer why you're mad at me? I don't have any secrets. My life is an open book, so you can.
That was about the board, the budget. I text you on that one.
No. And I have one more thing I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm not, the website. The website.
Come on, Nia, let Berthold finish. I'm going to adjourn this meeting right now unless you start answering these questions.
Taking Kamau's picture down from the website. That was kind of cold-hearted.
We take it down?
Yeah. Why was it taken down?
Oh, I don't know. We have 2 people responsible for the website. They put the picture up, and actually we're doing a collection at the station and so on. And then I'm in contact with his brother and mother who's in New Jersey. I have no idea.
Yeah, because I looked again, it's not up there anymore.
So I looked at it. Okay, so that's sad. For the phone logs, I try to, I have a phone log book like this, and Sean knows. I go home, I call, I write down all the information, and I address all the ones that have to deal with premium and members who have issues first. And then I go to them. It takes time, because I try to answer every single member who has an issue, so that I can win them back. Vet premiums, that has to do with planning. That means we'll have to start planning fund drives way in advance. also, it's a very complicated process. Once you start having premiums, once you decide who you're going to preempt and how you're going to set up your schedule, then you have to start approaching the producers and asking them whether or not they have a premium, or whether or not they want to, you're suggesting premiums to them. And as you're doing this process, premiums keeps coming. So obviously we have done better this time, but we want to start having those things ready a month in advance, and then the next one creeps up on you. As you know, we have fund drive every 3 months. And so we should be really starting to plan. I got involved in the planning right now, so to push it and then to set up the spreadsheet, like as you see. It's very complicated. I don't want to, put you down in the way I'm saying it, like you are belittling, like you are simplifying the process of collecting a premium, watching a premium. I even watch premium at home myself, and then written summaries of the DVD for the program director, who spends
Bertel, your time is up.
5 hours, 10 hours a day watching premium and vetting them. Can't watch the whole thing. So it's also the responsibility of the producers, whom I hope will step up to the plate a little more. I passed away this picture. This is what we are pitching this week and next week. This is a stake of 4 gig. It's going to have 2 gigs of the WikiLeaks and the favorite shows of certain producers that are going to be pitching them on the air. This is an attempt of going back to pitching the show itself. So we're going to, pretty it up with the WikiLeaks and all that stuff. Like the the hacker guys did something really good, and I think you guys should all buy it. It's pretty good.
Who made these? Who made these?
We are producing them. And
Please let Bertel finish, because there are a whole bunch of people. We're going to leave. Yeah. People have to leave.
Concerning
yeah, your time is up.
Concerning Janet, point well taken. We are talking to Brooklyn Historical Society. There is, I forgot the name, Arab American artists that have different people who come and make presentation. We're also connecting to. As soon as they have speakers, we kind of establish relationship. We need to do a lot more of that. Absolutely. As far as the space, well, we do have a nice space that we found on Maiden Lane. It's 18,000 square feet. That would give us the 25,000 as opposed to 38,000 we're paying a month now. It's just a matter of coming with the money. If we could come up with $3 million right now, we'll just move in onto that.
Yeah, you got it.
Huh?
You got it.
Yeah. All right. As far as the Zygas, I'll look at it again, but as I addressed before.
Do you know who Linda LaRouche is?
Yes,
please. Okay. Well,
You said
wait,
two
Manager.
for every person, Mitchell.
Right.
Beyond that.
I'm going to ask you to respond to managers, and then we're going to leave.
Yes, manager, we're going to have very strong disagreement, and that's fine. As far as the money part, we have to be a little realistic. We have to raise money, and so we have to mix it up. I think that we're very proud of what we have done from the time we started to now. Now we are actually doing a lot better. We actually, during the fund drive, we stopped pitching to do a half-an-hour special hardcore analysis on Egypt. We play Al Jazeera, we do not pitch. We have the 5 o'clock shadow many times, and so on. We are getting there, but to address public affairs and to do most of these things, we're going to have to remove some more programming. So that's another process that's going to take a while. So you cannot ask us to respect the producers and not take action, and at the same time to start changing programming and address programming and clean up and make it better. So that's why we hopefully will start the program council. Yes, if I had to make the changes that we did, we might have done a few things differently, but would have done them anyways. Because as you all know, the CPB showed that we have to double our audience and the amount of money we make based on 50,000 watt and what we cover. So obviously, some shows were having 500 people listening to them in the middle of the day, and then they had to go. Whether or not they were good shows or bad shows, they were not, radio material. We're a radio station. We have to be somewhat entertaining.
It's supposed to be education.
Well, we're educational.
We got it, Mitchell.
Thanks.
Bertel,
we're going to take this all up on email. Yeah, we can do it on email.
we
We
are
really have
doing-
to go. I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah, the people are voting with their feet. So I'd like to announce the adjournment of this meeting. Thank you very much for actually a very productive meeting. Thank you.
Where have you been, man?
Of course, you can also post them either privately or to the public list or any way you want. Yeah, sure. Well, if not, he'll have a delegation in his office.
Is there something official that the LSB can put together and really ask for a response?
Any questions that we have, I think that anybody has, should be.
No, I'm thinking but that there should be some kind of response. I mean, you can't ignore it.
When I read the report, nobody wanted to also
So we're going to do it.
We would like to know if people just stack the tables against the wall. It's pretty light. And we need to stack the chairs. So folks can stack the chairs instead, and if you're able to, we need to put them in against the wall in piles of 10. I've been instructed, and then just stack
Has to happen now, you know. Look at what timing, but this is a priority.
Oh, yeah.
Assistance happening in the border also.
Wow, that's
So is that the way so that he's not affected? So he's so the other one.
why haven't I been involved in seeing the support?
But I thought I had something.
This is over. This is over.
This
is all about
and like Saudi Arabia, which has petroleum balance, Jordan doesn't have that. So people don't.
That's what the whole thing. We're going to have a conversation.
But petroleum.
And there are many other people who were banned at the same time who did not do such a thing. Who didn't do anything.
How you doing?
is all people who are people who some things that are going on.
It's something very good. That's a value for me. On the internet, on Facebook.
Why is the banner? Why is the banner? That's true.
Because at Pacifica,
that's not a form of violence. That's protected free speech. No, it's protected free speech.
But how many analysis what factors
I know all about it.
complex for anybody to have all the answers?
How about when you take a picture of someone in front of their face? It is. Look it up. I didn't physically go into some space. She had a camera in front of me. That's why she has to
It was a picture.
She's standing 10 feet from me. While I was saying, I don't know when it
now those strikes specifically did not link themselves to the broader issue. I'm taking trouble.
You don't even
Yes, sir, definitely. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm getting a computer back. I'm in the best position. I'm even in the library and.
No, yeah, I get it. That's how I got it. I carry this stuff up the stairs. Okay.
I saw that exchange, yeah.
On the website, on the weaponry. On weapon, no. Technically,
The Arab Revolution is
it's not just in North Korea, but North Koreans, in one case,
It's figure that things are changing and we have to try.
yeah, let's put this. And I think it's but you know, I'm complaining about zeitgeist. I was complaining about the zeitgeist film. The addendum is just as good. The addendum has all of the stuff about the money changes and all the anti-Semitic stuff.
Larry and I don't have my time together. I'm not Larry and Larry. I am not my partner.
And then it's going to be 2 empty. And then 2 of them is going to be elite and the best of whichever of the programming we have. Yeah, that's what we sent to different people. We don't know what the pleasure is. We're going to try to have a whole special on this, like on the special on Egypt and all that stuff. Amy did some things on Egypt. Esther did a nice thing on Egypt. Tahir is going to do Egypt every Friday.
I know, but I am not a fan of Tahrir. No, they are not. They are. No, they have something. No, it's not the preference. No, it's presentation. The presentation. Yeah, just I have something. But it's great that you are doing everything.
Yeah, that's how we do it. I know.
I had listened to them first. But I listened to them. I follow that from Al Jazeera.
Anybody wants?
I don't know. I listen. I am willing.
Yeah, I mean, I was in marketing.